Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Noodle Journey. Today we're going to check out what happens when you combine Chapagetti and Neoguri and then amp up the spice level. This is Nongshim's Angry Chapaguri bowl. I've already covered both Chapagetti and Neoguri extensively in earlier reviews, so please check those out if you want a more thorough description of what they taste like. In a nutshell, Chapagetti is Nongshim's noodles with a mild black bean sauce, and Neoguri is Nongshim's spicy seafood soup with a slightly thicker udon-style noodle. And if you've ever seen the movie Parasite, or read about it on the internet, you might know that combining Chapagetti and Neoguri gives you a classic Korean noodle recipe called ramdon, or Chapaguri. Nongshim has capitalized on the popularity of this recipe by packaging its own Chapaguri, and this comes in both regular and angry varieties. The angry variety being an extra spicy version. There's some packaging variations on this depending on where you find it. In my hands is an import of the version sold in Korea, which is what my local H-Mart carries, but the version you might find in your local store could be the milder non-angry version, which looks like this, or it could be the angry version made in Korea for American import, which looks like this. So if you're not sure which version you're getting, here's a quick trick to tell if it's the angry version or not. This raccoon thing on the package, are its eyeballs on fire? If so, that's the Angry Chapaguri. No burning eyeballs, milder version. There, easy. You can also use Google Lens to translate if you're not sure. These characters up here translate to angry. And of course there's a little flame next to them. This bowl was $2.99 at H-Mart, with the mild bowl also clocking in at around the same price if you can find it in your local store or an online storefront. And I would have gone for that first, but this was the only kind they had. There's also a pack version for about the same price as your normal Nongshim packs, around $7 to $10 for a 4-pack depending on where you buy it. Again, this was all I could find locally, so this is what I'm reviewing. In this bowl, we have 1,230 milligrams of sodium, a nice medium amount. If you were to do the Chapaguri hack on your own with the flavor packets from one package each of Chapagetti and Neoguri, your sodium amount would almost be 3,000 milligrams. So this is a good alternative to the hack for that main reason. So inside we've got a round block of Nongshim noodles, and they don't appear to be the thicker udon type we saw in the Neoguri standalone pack. I also see what looks to be some dried seaweed floating around in here. Then we've got a powdered soup base and a seasoning oil. And look, this whole package is in Korean, and it's not easy for me to use Lens to translate this rounded wall of text on the side here. So I can't tell you much about the ingredients ahead of time or if this has any animal products in it besides the obvious seafood extracts. I'll just try to figure out the flavors as I eat, but based on the Chapagetti and Neoguri reviews, I kind of have an idea of what's in here based on that. So speaking of which, it's time to cook. Open the lid, remove the packets, add water to the fill line down here, which is around 220 milliliters, and we're going to microwave this for 3 minutes uncovered before we stir everything in. And oh hey, before I go do that, I just had a peek at the noodles and what's underneath. And yeah, it looks like we've got some dried carrot, some dried, what I assume is textured soy protein that looks like beef, and we've got some cute little raccoon face fish cakes. Yeah, what a surprise. Pretty cool. All right, so the noodles are cooked. We're going to add the soup packet in there. And if history has taught me anything, it's entirely possible that most of the spice is contained in that oil packet. So I'm going to try this as is before I put the oil packet in, because maybe this is just regular Chapaguri without it. All right, yeah, that is making a nice thick brown broth. All right. Let's give that broth a try before I put this seasoning oil in. Nope, I was wrong. It is already spicy. Wow, I did not expect that. Well, you live, you learn, folks. Who knew? I just have to point out this is ridiculously awesome and convenient. After doing 42 episodes of this show, I've noticed what a pain in the ass it is to get these oil packets open, and this one has an easy cut. So hopefully I can just rip this and get the oil squeezed out from here, and everything will be great. Oh yeah, like butter. That's awesome. Thanks, Nongshim. I really appreciate the convenience of that. I gotta tell you, the original broth that I just tasted was already spicy. I have no idea how much this oil is going to amp up the spice. I'm a little afraid of it, to be honest. It's really interesting. I just had a lick of that off of my fingers. And it's not so much chili oil as I think it might be a little more of the seafood flavor. So this is all in all just completely unexpected, the way it turned out. Not in a bad way at all. Let's stir in this oil though, so everything is properly incorporated. Lots of nice flakes in here. That seaweed really hydrated well. I have a feeling if this tastes half as good as it smells, it's going to be a winner. All right. It's go time. Let's try this. There's one of those little raccoon fish cakes. Try that. Yeah, that rehydrated well. Little textured vegetable protein. That is really close to actual beef. That's impressive. A little chewier. All right, and then let's get some broth. Wow. So let's start with the noodles. These are Nongshim's regular noodles, plump, chewy, perfect for this application. I always give Nongshim an 8 out of 10 unless it's something special or subpar. These are an 8 out of 10. They're not the flat udon noodles that we saw with the Neoguri, so don't expect that exactly, but they're still very good. Spice level. So I believe I gave the Neoguri a 6 out of 10 on spice, and obviously the Chapagetti is a 0 out of 10. It's just a sweet, earthy, oniony bean flavor. This is definitely spicier than regular Neoguri is. But I don't know if it's particularly, like, super angry spicy the way I expected it to be. I kind of thought maybe Nongshim was going for something spicier than Buldak with the way that packaging looks. And it's not nearly as spicy as a Samyang Buldak product is, but it is definitely noticeably spicier than regular Neoguri. So I'm going to call it a 7 out of 10 on the spice scale. It's powerful, I'm not going to lie. And it is definitely staying in the back of my throat. All right, now, so for the overall flavor of this, so you can see that the broth is actually turning into more of a sauce, more of a stew. I think that's a good thing. I really like the consistency of this. The flavor is absolutely a hybrid of Chapagetti and Neoguri, but I think aside from the spice, the edge flavor-wise goes to Chapagetti. The black bean sweetness and earthiness is definitely a stronger, more noticeable flavor than the sweetness that I expected from the seafood side of the equation. It's not to say the seafood flavor is not in here, it still is, but it's a little more muted, I think, when you combine the two of these together. I already like black bean sauce, so this is black bean sauce with an extra kick, and I think that's great. The fish cakes are a nice addition. The textured vegetable protein is a great addition, gives a little more fake beefiness. The seaweed gives some umami. And yeah, there's some carrots in here that are along for the ride, giving you a little extra root vegetable flavor and sweetness. And so this being the best of both worlds, and because I think that the sweetness of the Neoguri really enhances the flavor of the black bean sauce, I think this is worth an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, it's really good. All right, so thank you, Nongshim, for making this product so I don't have to hack it together myself. And I think the results are great. I really like the way these two flavors complement each other, and I really appreciate all the mix-ins in this bowl. It's excellent quality. If you're already a fan of Chapagetti, you're already a fan of Neoguri, I don't think you can go wrong with purchasing this. The spice level is a little bit higher, so be wary of that, and if that's something that bothers you, look for the not angry version of this, and you'll have yourself a real treat. If you've done the Chapaguri hack yourself, you already know what to expect from this, and this is a lot more convenient, so I think you should try it. If you haven't tried either flavor yet, but the idea of those two together appeals to you anyway, just go out and buy a bowl of this if you can find it. I think it's absolutely worth it. Have you tried the hack, or have you tried this? Are you a fan of either product? Are you a fan of this product? Let's talk about it in the comments. Please let me know and we can discuss. So with that, I'm going to finish this, and I hope you'll like and subscribe so we can continue on this noodle journey together.